So Alaska is unique in a lot of ways. People can experience things here that they're not really going to be able to experience anywhere else in the U.S. First off, the climate, the subarctic and the Arctic climates, that's just not available in the lower United States. Experiencing the sort of deep cold that we have in Alaska, it can be 30 to 70 below zero here, and you're not really getting those sort of deep cold temperatures in much of the U.S. So that opens up a whole world of winter exploration. Other things that you find here that you don't find in such abundance elsewhere is just how expansive the wilderness is. You can explore for not just hours, not just days, not just weeks, but months. It's one of the few places that you can do a month backpacking trip and not run into some town. There's still truly spots in Gates of the Arctic National Park or Denali or the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge where you could spend almost a lifetime exploring without running into other people.
Climate change, we're seeing the real effects of climate change in Alaska right now. This can happen in terms of sort of the structure of the ecosystem, so we're seeing those increases in the frequency of fires, for example. And also there are other phenomena like Alaskan ecosystems such as permafrost and tundra actually contain a lot of carbon in the soils. There's more carbon in the soils than is currently in our atmosphere. And depending on how climate change impacts these environments, that carbon could be released in the atmosphere or carbon could actually be sequestered into these soils. And especially because Alaska is part of the northern latitudes which are experiencing sort of climate change the most. And so these are important sort of testing grounds for us to understand how ecosystems will respond and how we can manage and adapt to climate change.
It's important to preserve the wildlife in Alaska and the culture of Alaska for future generations for a few different reasons. For one, it's a really unique ecosystem here. From the whaling villages of Kaktovik and Barrow, where they're a major part of their livelihood is off what they harvest from the sea, to the people along the Yukon River who fish for salmon with their fish wheels. The people of Alaska are, you really can't describe them without describing the wildlife. Another reason, just a lot of the animals themselves are keystone species that, there's a real interconnectedness between the plant and animal communities. And if you allow one thing to disappear or push another thing or push something to disappear, allow it to disappear, then everything that's sort of connected to it is in jeopardy as well. And so for both those reasons, it's really important to do what we can to keep a healthy ecosystem for all the native species and the traditional cultures to keep on living.
I think a few things we can do is one, just through basic research and studying how ecosystems are responding to the change in climate, really important to predict and understand how other ecosystems are going to respond to climate change. I think also, as we've experienced, conservation is very important. So Alaska boasts some pretty incredible national parks, and these are great places to conduct research and also to get the public involved with conservation efforts. These amazing ecosystems where climate change is the effects of climate change can be very much visible to the public and to scientists, and all this will help our study and understanding of Alaskan ecosystems, then will help inform our decision making moving forward in how we're going to respond or adapt or change our behavior and practices in the wake of climate change.
So I think the best way to work to protect and preserve what Alaska has to offer everyone is first experiencing it for yourself. I think this is sort of paraphrasing John Muir, but he says the clearest way into the universe is through a mountain stream. So what he means by that is when you step in and you feel that cold water of the mountain stream, well, you're feeling a connectedness. You're in there, you're experiencing it. Well, if you come to Alaska and you explore, you get away from the roads and you go into the backcountry, you're going to feel that same sort of connectedness. It's all around you. You're just engulfed by it. And once you've been exposed to that, well, then it's easy to, to have that urge to say, hey, this is something that needs to be protected for future generations. It's as easy as signing a petition for that to as complex as donating a summer. I would say my final thoughts are here, just get outside. Makes you feel that you're part of the ecosystem, not just sort of an outside observer. And so that's, live wild, get outside. That's really all I have to say.